Just imagine your doctor telling you that you have to get surgery. You don't have any symptoms. There were no other options given to you. What would you do? And I have my guest here, Miss Laura, here to talk about that. And for those that don't know me, my name is Phyllis, aka Fibroid Queen, and I help women end their suffering with uterine fibroids through a holistic and fitness regimen, as I have through the Fibroid Fitness Challenge. And Miss Laura is here to talk about her experience being diagnosed recently with uterine fibroids. So, Laura, thank you so much for joining me. So, tell us just a little bit just about you.
Yeah, so I'm 44 and I've been really active my whole life. I was a gymnast when I was younger. I've gone through like being a triathlete and like so I've always exercised. I've always been healthy. I actually am a health coach too. So I pay attention to food, to what I'm eating. It's not that, I'm definitely not 100%, and I do like kind of go off the rails sometimes. Um, and basically, I've been healthy all my life. I've never had a surgery. I've never even broken a bone. So I've never really had to go into the hospital for anything. And I've just never really had any sort of illness. I will say when I was younger, I had mono, which results in Epstein-Barr virus. So I did struggle with that when I was younger. But other than that, which causes, more fatigue. So I have had a lot of fatigue to deal with. But other than that, that's kind of my history, as far as, what I was involved in and kind of my mindset towards my life.
Okay, so tell me how you were diagnosed with fibroids. It was found during a physical exam, right?
Yeah, it was so my woman's wellness visit with my OBGYN. And he was just doing the regular exam and he actually felt one with his fingers. And then he said, okay, well, this doesn't, it doesn't, he wasn't really sure what exactly it was, but he was like, let's do an ultrasound to just see what's going on. So, which I learned that's really how you have to view fibroids. You can't really see them any other way, except if if they're really big, of course you can feel them. So anyway, I had the ultrasound done and it ends up that I have 5 inside my uterus. And then the one that he was feeling was outside attached, by a little arm. And I think it's pedunculated. I think that's the word. I feel like I say that wrong all the time.
Outside the uterus. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's how it was diagnosed. And he immediately started talking about surgery. So from there, he basically sat down with me and started talking about my options. And he did tell me that I needed to have surgery within 6 months. So that was, that was absolute. Like you have to get them out.
You found out that you have fibroids. You said 5 fibroids?
There are 5 in my uterus and then 1 outside.
Okay. And how big were they?
The biggest one was the one that was outside, and he said it was half an inch.
Half an inch.
That's what he said. And also I had no symptoms. So I had no idea any of this was going on. So I went into the doctor that day and suddenly I was faced with, you have to have surgery. And coming from my history, someone, again, I've never been in the hospital. I've never broken a bone. It was a little traumatizing just to hear that. And
Absolutely.
I mean, and I understand that, a lot of people would probably come at this in a different way and maybe, and I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat this. I don't want to make my story sound like, oh, look at the girl that's never had anything wrong. And, but I think that sometimes that is real, right? It's my story, and so.
It is your story, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, I hope that anyone else who's struggling with something like this can just hear this and know that, there is another option, basically, So the other thing that he told me, he said, surgery, absolutely. And he said,
and tell us, Laura, what type of surgery? Myomectomy? Was it a hysterectomy? What did he recommend that you should do?
So he said that he would definitely need to take out the pedunculated one that was outside my uterus, which means he would have to cut into my abdomen because it was outside of my uterus, so he couldn't go in vaginally, and that I would be left with a scar. And then, you know, for the other ones, he would go in through my vagina and, you know, take them out. And I'm not sure, I know there's word, like, I'm not clear on all the terms of what exactly the surgeries are called, but, and then he also told me, well, while I'm in there, I could just take your uterus. And then you won't have to deal with any more growing, because he said usually there, once you find one, there's usually going to be more happening. And then on top of that, he said, and while I'm doing that, I could just take your ovaries, because then you don't have to deal with ovarian cancer, which ovarian cancer is not in my family. So there's no reason for him. I don't know. I was very confused by that suggestion. He wasn't saying this is what you need to do. He just said, these are your options. He did say, you need to have surgery. These need to come out. And what kept going through my mind was like, I don't have symptoms. Like, I'm not having a problem right now. And I asked him, you know, what are the dangers? Why would you just go to surgery? And he had said, well, it can cause a lot of pain and it can cause bleeding. So, which I understand for sure. I know a lot of women suffer with, you know, all of the symptoms, and they're awful. And, you know, maybe there is a time to absolutely have surgery, and maybe you do need to have a hysterectomy at some point. But in my case, I, you know, then started looking into things and found you on Instagram, and figured out, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of women who are out there who are dealing with this. And this is actually very common. And I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known as soon as I got my period. I think all of women should be educated about this. Like, this is what this is, right? This is what a fibroid is. And these are the things you can do to help, you know, prevent them. Or if you get them, this is some of the stuff that you can think about doing. The problem is that I don't think any of that information is going to come from an MD. They're not going to tell you, oh, lower your stress and eat more, you know, fruits and vegetables, and, you know, watch your meat consumption. And so thank goodness, Phyllis, for you, that you're here, because it really helped me. It gave me a sense of comfort to find you and know that there was someone out there that was, you know, that had been dealing with fibroids for 12 years and managed the symptoms and had one of them disappear. I mean, it's an amazing story, and it's so helpful to hear that. So I'm excited to be a part of your fibroid challenge, and just doing all the things that you're recommending to, you know, work to alleviate symptoms. Not that I have symptoms, but I don't want symptoms. And then also, hopefully to, you know, make them go away, honestly, is my goal. That's really what I think I can make happen, especially since mine are small. So, yeah, it's been great. It's been great with the community of women, because I know they're super supportive, and anytime I post, they're always right there to comment or to like, or, you know, so it really makes you feel like you have a community moving forward, which is vastly different from that day that I went into the, you know, the doctor's office, and I just felt alone. And what are these things? I've never heard of this. And now I have to have surgery, you know? So
absolutely.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, Lara. Thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the things that made me want to start this Fibroid Fitness Challenge is a reflection of my journey, and not getting the information, not getting the education that I needed, and now being able to help women like yourself be able to live beyond fibroids is actually what I wake up for, you know. And this is so inspiring that you, and what really breaks my heart is a lot of women don't have the knowledge that you had, or the determination that you had to say, you know what, I have other options, you know, not, you know, just listening to one, you know, suggestion or recommendation, but really tuning in and saying, you know what, I need to research, I need to double check, I need to confirm some things. You know what, you need to take your uterus out, or you know what, you need to do this, and not knowing all your options. So I'm just so happy for you. So what would you tell that woman out there who's just been recently diagnosed with fibroids, and doesn't know what to do?
Well, I mean, I would say, don't just know that there's a way to manage them. And it's, and if you talk to your ND, they're going to say there's not. I had this conversation with my ND because that's my mindset is like, let's do something with your lifestyle. And he basically was like, you can't. And I said, have you ever seen one shrink? And he said, well, I have, but not enough. Has to be, like, logically, there has to be thousands of other women out there who have them disappear, or at least have them shrink enough to where they don't have symptoms, So I would say that, I mean, for sure, talk to your doctor, get their ideas. And because I don't want to say that there's not a place for NDs. There are, absolutely. There's also a place for people like you, who can show their story and can show that there is another way. So I would say just know that there are other people out there living with fibroids, and jump into the fibroid challenge, because it's a great way to like connect with people, and really, you don't have to spend time searching around the internet, not really knowing where your information is coming from. You can do it from one source, from you, a nurse, right, who's had some training, and has also lived with fibroids, knows, what it's like, and has a success story. So jump into that and know that you have all the resources there. It's just lined out. You just have to like print stuff out, go to the grocery store and get moving,
Get moving. Oh my gosh, Lara, thank you so much for sharing your testimony. I'm going to be rooting for you along with the other ladies in this Fibroid Fitness Challenge. If you're just as Laura said, and you're looking for support, a community, join the Fibroid Fitness Challenge. Live beyond fibroids. Know your options, do your research, and thank you for listening. Subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks, Laura.
Awesome. Thank you.